There are 9 types of weapons in Crown Trick, each with its own attack range, diverse skill set, and reforge aspects. Each weapon has its own unique qualities that vary from common to legendary. The rarest weapons deal the most damage and are most effective. Here's a brief introduction to the differences between each weapon and their mastery difficulty. First, there is a sword. This is the lowest learning tier. Its attack range covers all 3 front tiles and the passive skills are more offensive. There is also a wide variety of offensive effects to this weapon. The next one is an axe. It deals slightly less damage than a sword, but it can attack all adjacent tiles in the area surrounding Elle. The axe's skills focus on control and there are additional buffs that can be added after landing a hit. It is extremely easy to use and perfect for beginners. Daggers can only attack an enemy in the front tile, but the attack is triggered twice in one turn. With each attack, there is also a possibility to trigger a special effect. It is in the medium-high learning tier and is recommended to players who are already familiar with the game. A spear can attack enemies 2 tiles away. It can also boost the skill power and buff effects unlike other types of weapons in the medium learning tier. Boxing gloves can attack 3 tiles away and have different buff effects when hitting the furthest tile. They deal moderate damage and are in the medium-high learning tier. The staffs have a 2-tile range and deal relatively low physical damage, but also have the highest skill power among all weapon types. It's one of the hardest weapons to master. Now, let's talk about the guns in Crown Trick. All guns have a bullet mechanic, which requires 1 turn to reload the weapon. They are all in the medium learning tier. Handguns have 4 bullets and can hit an enemy as far as 3 tiles away, with the last shot having a double attack effect. When reloading, it can also trigger a unique buff effect. Rifles have 3 bullets and the highest attack range of 4 tiles. Each bullet can attack multiple enemies in one line and can trigger a special effect. Shotguns have 2 bullets that spread on the last tile and can attack 3 enemies at a time. If the enemy is 1 tile away, then the damage is much higher. So that's it for the brief introduction of weapon types in the game. In addition to the standard skill set that each weapon has, you'll also be able to upgrade them once you have rescued a blacksmith from the Nightmare Realm. But you'll need to be prepared to spend some soul shards for that. There are also some general weapon aspects that can be upgraded in all weapons, and some special aspects that can only be used with certain types of weapons. Among them, the 3-star aspects are the most powerful, but also the rarest. In the merchant's room between the floors, you can spend 100 coins to unlock a random weapon aspect. You can add or replace the aspects of your current weapon. Due to the randomness factor, it may bring out some unexpected combinations. Meanwhile, the higher the quality of the weapon, the easier it is to get more advanced aspects. As for legendary weapons, they have unique and extremely powerful skill effects and weapon aspects. There are 9 legendary weapons for each type in total. To unlock a legendary weapon, you must first find a blueprint of that weapon and then put it into the blueprint recycling device in the merchant room. Choosing the right weapon for your dungeon run is very important because in most cases this is your starting point of the character build. It's important to choose a weapon that is compatible with your familiar's skills. For instance, if your familiar is a fire breather, it would not be wise to choose a dagger class weapon because it will be harder to combine ranged skills with attacking. But if your familiar is a mandragora and you use a rifle, then you can first use the trap skill to block an approaching enemy and then continue shooting from distance, an ideal combination. It's worth mentioning that guns in general just give players that safe feeling of keeping distance between you and the monsters. But sometimes it's not the case, mostly because of the reload mechanic and inability to properly use terrain-based skills to control the area. So, if you want to use gun weapons, then you will need to have a certain understanding of the game, otherwise we recommend using them cautiously. Okay, that's it for the weapon introduction. Now, let's move on to explaining the break mechanic in Crown Trick. Each monster has a certain number of breakpoints. Each time you land an attack, it reduces 1 point, and when it reaches 0, the monster will be stunned for a couple of turns. At this point, it's safe to continue attacking the monster. If you manage to stun another monster within the next couple of turns, you will get into a combo state. The full combo meter will boost your damage and give you additional blink usage. So when you continue filling up the combo meter, you can use blink more often and deal higher damage in the same room. But there are a couple of points to keep in mind. First, when the monster is on one of the adjacent tiles around Elle, you will be able to reduce 1 extra point upon attacking. Second, when the monster is in a charging state, you can reduce an extra point, but if you stay next to the charging monster, you'll be able to reduce 3 breakpoints in 1 attack. There are, however, a couple of exceptions to this rule. For example, daggers attack twice in 1 turn. When you're next to a monster, then the rule only applies to the first attack and it reduces 3 breakpoints instead of 4. Alright, once you're familiar with the combo and weapon mechanics, you can experiment more and create your own playstyle. But it's very important to remember to trigger the combo meter whenever you have a chance. It's a bit tricky to do since every step in the game matters. The strategic approach to reducing the breakpoints within the minimum number of turns is the key, but we'll talk about this more in future videos. Well, that's it for the weapon and combo system introduction. Thanks for watching, and be sure to add Crown Trick to your Steam wishlist.